Welcome to the MagiReco news. I'm Emory. The news of today are the olds of tomorrow. Our top story today is revolution time, grey revolution time. But before we talk about that, there's also the next Kimochi. I know that we just had a Kimochi. I know the Kimochi has just ended, but and I need to make myself a little bit bigger for this. There's going to be the next one right away, right? The next one has already been announced, and it's going to happen in late February. So maybe somewhere around February 30th or 31st, maybe somewhere around that time is when I get the next one. It's going to be, no, not Ruby Naval, because Ruby Naval hasn't been seen in over a year for some fucking reason, but we've had like 3 light Kimochi since then, or maybe even 4, I don't fucking know. Point is, however, this is the Kimochi that itself is forest type, meaning bring your fire characters, and it's the Charge Blast Kimochi, meaning bring Judy, bring Kyoko, bring the other Kyoko as well, characters like that, maybe some charge characters, they say Hagomu down here as well, maybe better charge characters than that, but yeah, bring charge characters, bring Kyoko and Judy and all those blast characters, or you don't have to play Charge Blast on them, you can just, of course, just use any fire character that's good here. For example, Alikari. Alikari is going to be a top pick. I have Alikari 4 slot because of course I do. I'm going to use Alikari to do a lot of damage. They're not going to be that much further behind the Charge Blast strategies, but the Charge Blast strategies are going to be probably a little bit higher, just a tiny bit higher than Mage strategies. But that's for the end of February. For right now, it's revolution time, and we have Miura Asahi. Okay, so Asahi is right here. I still have some trouble saying the word Asahi because I've played Final Fantasy 14, and Asahi is one of the worst fucking people in that game. Anyway, point is, you have Asahi right here, who is a support type, a support dark type, who might be one of the worst characters this game has ever seen in terms of like gameplay wise. But I only say some of like one of the worst. There's still characters out there that are definitely worse than this. But her archetype is defensive support. You know how much I rail on about how terrible tanks are in here? Well, at least tanks have good stats, right? So you can use them for patrol. Himika, for example, and Kirika are really good for patrol because they have really high stats. But then you put that instead on a support who has really low stats with a similar moveset. And you're like, okay, there goes the one thing that actually tanks had going for themselves. So what does she actually do, aside from being bad? Just the following. Okay, her connect is attack up, which is standard. Or is it? Oh, yeah, it is attack up. I was supposed to say that this right here, I hope for saying it was the defense up. No, it's okay, it is the attack up. It's not completely terrible. As well as survive and guard. So you connect this to someone and they get guard and survive, which of course means that other character that you're connecting to is going to guard everyone and is going to survive that turn, which is very defensive. Probably the best thing about her. Then her Magia is single target attribute strength and damage, which might actually be the worst thing on a support, because supports have really low attacks. So why you give them a single target attack with really high scaling percentage wise, but only against a single type? I don't know. Then it also does defense up, a debuff shield, and a status ailment shield for 3 turns to everyone. So everyone gets a debuff shield and everyone gets a status ailment shield. Nice. And it also revives a character. It's not actually the 3rd unit in the game that has a revive. The other 2 being Iroha and Iroyachi. Okay, so both Irohas. And now we actually have a 3rd unit doing it, Asahi right here. But in case you've never actually seen people do any sort of strategy that involves Iroha or Iroyachi using a revive, it's because revive is actually really fucking bad in this game. Mostly because if you have strong characters, no one's going to die anyway. So it's only something that's good if you have a bad account, and if you have a bad account, just get better damage and then no one's gonna die. Deactive, however, is also quite alright actually. It gives HP regen and status aiming resistance up to all allies for 3 turns. Cool, but completely defensive. You get a fast MP up, 15%, which is like 22.5 MP if you have double unlocked. Awesome. It also gives Fury added, which is the thing that if an ally dies, you get bonus attack and bonus defense for the rest of the fight, which is fine. Yachio also has that, as well as Iriachi. Awesome. And the other one is just you have a chance of cursing if you attack, which is okay. So here's the thing. Some people have said this character is not completely terrible, and I'm going to go into depth about why this character is bad, but if you've watched any other of my How Good Is videos where I talk about defensive characters, you'll know exactly why this character is bad. This is a completely 100% defensive character, but some people have said, oh, but you can revive people, and with Fury Adept you can keep stacking up the damage bonus if someone dies. You know who else can do that? Iriachi. Iriachi also has Fury Adept and can revive on Magia. And guess what? No one gives a shit about that strategy, even people who have Iriachi, even though Iriachi has really high attack and really high defense, so buffing that one actually makes a lot of sense. But that strategy just isn't very good because it requires people to die and then get revived and then die again, and it's gonna take like 10 turns for you to get any sort of decent bonus, and by then the battle should really be over by then. But even aside from that, what the fuck are you buffing her for? She has terrible stats. If you give her 100% damage attack bonus, she's still gonna have less attack than most attacker characters have just normally. What? There's like no point in buffing her if she has a low base attack and defense anyway. So it's not like that strategy would even work out. She could have this bonus maxed out after 50 turns and she would still do less damage than Iriachi would do normally. Absolutely no fucking point. So yeah, she's actually terrible. But, and I always say this, roll for her anyway if you like her. Roll for her anyway if you like her. She's a World War II sniper. And this also is something that I was thinking about when I saw this character. Sun had a Gatling gun. She had 3 Gatling guns even. 3 machine guns, one of them strapped to her back. And she was a heal type, a defensive heal type. Now we have a World War II sniper who in the story is apparently so dangerous that the entirety of Promised Blood said, oh my fucking god, she could kill us without us having any chance to react if she wanted to. That's how dangerous she is in the story. She's like, oh man, she's a World War II sniper, she's so fucking good. She could snipe Yuna, for example, from 2 kilometers away and we couldn't do anything about it. That's how dangerous she is. And she's a defense support who does no damage. FRS, do you know what Gatling guns do? Do you know what sniper rifles do? Why are they defensive? Why are they healers? Why are they support? What the fuck? Anyway, we have Emory as well. This first one does attack up and chance to charm on attack. What does it do? Charm on attack? I don't fucking know. More notably though, it has a lot of base attack on it with a 25% attack up, which actually is a lot of overall attack. But aside from that, it's kind of boring. And the other one is chance to evade an HP region. Like, yeah, whatever. Of course, it also comes with an event. It's Revolution Grey or Grey Revolution, something like that. And it's a boss event. It's kind of like all the other faction events that we had, like Promised Blood, like the Green Just Bit of Violence, which was the Tokime Clan event. We had the event for... I guess we didn't actually have an event for Kamiya Maga Union. Maybe we're gonna get that at some point. But we did have an event for Neo Megas as well. That was also a boss event. Yeah, they've already been boss events so far, where you just have a map and you walk along the map and there's bosses sometimes. Yeah, that's that one. And it's probably going to focus on what happened in Yukuni City, which is where all the Folklore Zero members are from. They're all from the Yukuni City, where apparently, and this is really fucking stupid, is apparently a city where people, like normal people, have like captured magical girls and then tortured them and then developed anti-magic weapons and then used anti-magic weapons to like bully and torture all of the magical girls and kill them and get them out of the city. This sounds like maybe the stupidest fucking thing that I've ever heard in this entire franchise, not just MagiReco, but in the entire franchise of Madoka Mágica. This might be the dumbest fucking thing that I've ever heard, even dumber than Mami's Everyday Life manga, okay? I just hope that what I just said, which is something that I've gleaned from one of these characters saying something to that effect in main story, but they've only talked about it for like 2 or 3 lines. So I hope that that was maybe not quite the truth, and that maybe now that we're going to see the truth, that it's actually completely different, right? Maybe it's completely different, because I hope it's not what I just said, because that sounded so fucking stupid that if they do anything like that anti-magic weaponry and then torturing magic, what the fuck are you doing? Anyway, it's a boss event. You get stuff. You get a background that apparently has its own special BGM. And apparently at the very end of this event, the very last chapter will be voiced. And we'll have the theme song, of course, of Folklore of Zero at the end of this. Which was also the case with all the other big events, all the other faction events, like with Dependence Blue last time. Where, yeah, a character died. However, I don't think one of these characters is gonna die because they're alive right now in main story. So, and this is like backstory. So they're gonna be fine. Anyway, that's this event, and that's it for the story, for the news rather. That was it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and I'll see you guys next time.